Nosferatu is a 2024 gothic horror remake of the original 1922 Nosferatu. The film is a gothic tale of obsession between a haunted young woman and the terrifying vampire infatuated with her, causing untold horror in its wake. Nosferatu is a film back in the 1920s that was one of the first major horror films, along with films like The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, to really get horror into the medium of film, have it be popularized. It was a silent horror film, and I am going to talk a bit more about it around Halloween time, but it is essentially the tale of Dracula. It's like kind of a knockoff story, just taking many of the elements from that story, but tweaking some things around to make it sort of its own, but keeping the setting of Transylvania, some of the characters and archetypes of the story, and what we know of, the essential gothic look to it. It is essentially still a Dracula movie at heart, and Nosferatu very much follows, at least this remake version of it, by Robert Eggers, follow that story in many similar beats. Like we have the same character archetypes, and we have the same settings, we have the same kind of story. And to me, I was okay with keeping something similar as long as you have the movie feel unique, have it feel at least its own. And if you're going to make it faithfully like the original stories, have it feel like it is creepy, it's gothic, have the direction be stellar, and with someone like Robert Eggers at the helm of this, I was ready to be amazed. Robert Eggers is a director that I have been watching since The Witch, his first major film, I believe, back in 2016. And it was also, I believe, Anya Taylor-Joy's first major film role. So I was like there when Anya Taylor-Joy first started out, really, and became this incredible actress over the course of her career. But the same with Robert Eggers. I watched The Witch and I loved it. I watched The Lighthouse and absolutely loved it. I haven't had a chance to watch The Northman, but I heard a lot of good things about that film. So hopefully one of these days I get a chance to see it. But Nosferatu, being a remake of an old silent film, I was interested. And I gotta be honest, the movie did not disappoint at all. I absolutely loved Nosferatu. I thought it was really creepy. I love the gothic horror imagery here. The set design to production design is all fantastic. The locations are beautiful. The makeup and practical horror effects are great. And the performances all across the board are fantastic. Willem Dafoe plays this Van Helsing type character that is after the vampire and knows the most about it, though he's not like the badass with a stake and is in these action sequences, but you feel his obsession of this creature that's about to loom a curse upon this town and is doing everything that he can to prevent him from doing any of his evil deeds. And Willem Dafoe is the most bombastic performance here. He is the most outlandish. He is a bit crazy, but he sells the serious tone of this film as well. And he just stole the show every time he is on screen, at least in the second half of the film. The first half, we are following Lily Rose Depp's and Nicholas Holt's characters, as Lily Rose Depp's character is the one being entranced and haunted by Nosferatu. She has a lot of weird dreams that is hard for her to explain to her husband. And Nicholas Holt's character is the one that physically has to go to Transylvania in order for this job that he is signing up for, and finds himself in the presence of Nosferatu physically in front of him. And each of these scenes in which he's interacting with him is real tension building. I thought it was really well done here. Yeah, a lot of the story beats here in the film play out similar to the original stories of Dracula and Nosferatu, but the direction in the set design, the setting and tone, it all felt uniquely its own. Felt like it was telling the story in the most truest of ways it can, the most faithful of ways. I can't imagine anyone else really directing such gothic imagery like this on film, like Robert Eggers. I almost mispronounced his name there, but he was able to have these scenes just play out the way it needed to and take its time lingering on these shots of Nicholas Hoult just terrified of the presence of Nosferatu. And us as the audience don't really get that good of a glimpse of him at first. And he is like kept in the shadows. He is kept just like a looming figure in the dark. And you just hear his deep and threatening voice. And it's hard to imagine it being Bill Skarsgård. I kept that as a surprise for you guys because Bill Skarsgård as Nosferatu was incredible. Like, unrecognizable. I did not know he was in this film. And when I saw the credits and he was listed as Nosferatu, I was like, what a performance. I am so sad that this is not going to get nominated for an Academy Award for Best Actor for him because he really is fantastic as the titular vampire. He is threatening, he is looming, and he disappears into the makeup completely. You cannot tell that is Bill Skarsgård. He was the last person I could expect playing this character, yet he embodies the movements of a vampire perfectly. The look and practical effects he used on him was incredible. Shout out to all the special effects and makeup people who worked on this character. They did an amazing job, but it's just Bill Skarsgård that just made the character just so looming. And when we do eventually see what Nosferatu looks like, he does feel and look threatening. He doesn't look like what we would expect him to look like, but as a vampire design goes, it still works really well, and I was terrified every moment he was on screen. I wouldn't call this the scariest movie though. There is a lot of scare scenes and scary moments, but the movie is just mostly tension building. We get a lot of scenes where we just focus in on the atmosphere of the setting, of what the characters are experiencing that they cannot really explain. Aaron Taylor Johnson's character is the one that is not really like grounded like some of the other characters, but is probably the most. Aaron Taylor Johnson's character is the one who's probably the most grounded and most in reality, but he is also the one that is probably the most douchiest of everyone here, as his good nature and act for Lily Rose Depp's character is all just something that he's trying to make a facade of. He really feels uncomfortable with her being in his house with his wife, and in many ways you can understand that with the way the wife acts really in the film. And while it is justified as for what we see in the film going on with her and her connection with Nosferatu, you can understand of someone who is outside of this vampire stuff and doesn't know much about it or cares to know much about it because it's not something he believes in. You can see why someone like Aaron Taylor Johnson's character would feel a little bit threatened by her presence. But at the same time, you want him to be proven wrong, as you know a lot of bad stuff is going to happen. Now, all in all, the casting overall is great. All the cast members do a great job. Nicholas Hoult and Taylor Johnson, Willem Dafoe, Bill Skarsgård, Lily Rose Depp, they're all fantastic. The production design and makeup is great. The setting is really beautiful, and I love the way this town was able to feel lively, like a character in itself. The gothic imagery is like oozing out of the production design, and the movie should get a nomination for that alone. The scare scenes are really good, but the tension and suspense of Nosferatu and his looming presence is felt throughout the entire film. The opening of the film sets the tone very well, and all in all, as a faithful remake to the original Nosferatu, I don't think you can get any better than this. It takes a lot of similar elements of the Dracula story and Nosferatu story and modernize it in a way with beautiful cinematography, music, sound design, production design, acting, like directing, everything about the film just came together to create something just so gothically beautiful. I can't recommend this movie enough. I thought it was fantastic. I'm going to give Nosferatu an A+. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you guys next time.